The British military broke protocol to make happy a girl with cancer. You won't believe what they did to him for that. London has always been a city of contrasts. On the one hand, there are majestic buildings, ancient streets, and historical monuments. On the other, bustling markets, modern skyscrapers, and a life that never stops. On one of these sunny days, when the air was filled with the aroma of freshly brewed tea and pastries, a guardsman in a traditional uniform stood on duty at Buckingham Palace. His name was John. He had been in the Royal Guard for several years and knew all the details of his job. Every day, he dressed in a red jacket, put on a black bear hat, and went out on duty to protect the royal family. His face was stern and unreadable, like all his comrades. They were trained not to show emotion, not to be distracted by others, and to perform their duties with impeccable precision. But on this day, something was different. The sun's rays pierced through the clouds, creating a warm atmosphere. Tourists enthusiastically photographed the palace, children laughed and ran around the lawns, and John felt his heart fill with something unusual. He couldn't figure out what it was, but it felt good. Chapter 2. Meeting a girl. Suddenly, his attention was attracted by a little girl sitting on a bench next to her mother. She was wearing a bright dress with flowers, but something about her appearance seemed strange to him. The girl looked sick. Her short cropped hair and pale face caused concern. However, despite this, she looked at him with sincere interest and a smile. John felt his heart tighten. He knew that protocol forbade him to leave his post, but he couldn't take his eyes off this girl. She was holding a stuffed cow toy in her hands, and her eyes shone with joy as she looked at him. He decided that he had to do something unusual. The rigor of his duties momentarily gave way to human feelings. He slowly approached the girl, trying not to cause panic among the tourists. Chapter 3. The conversation. When he was next to her, the girl froze in surprise. Her mom was also looking at him in disbelief. John got down on one knee, and with a smile, began to tell her about his duties. He talked about how important it is to protect the royal family, and how proud he is of his work. "I'm standing here to keep order," he said, pointing at the palace. "I guard this place every day. This is my job, and I do it with pride." The girl listened to him with admiration. Her eyes were sparkling with delight. "Don't you ever get tired?" "What is it?" she asked with childlike directness. "It can be difficult sometimes," John admitted. "But when I see people who are enjoying life, it gives me strength." Chapter 4. The Gift. After a few minutes of conversation, John felt that this conversation had become an important moment for him. He took out a small toy figure of a cow from his pocket. It was his personal toy, which he always carried with him as a mascot. He handed it to the girl and said, "This cow will guard you the same way I guard the palace." The girl's eyes widened in surprise and joy. She hugged the toy tightly and looked at John with gratitude. "Thank you, she's so beautiful," she said. The girl's mother couldn't hold back her tears. She knew how important this interaction was to her daughter. At that moment, she felt that there was kindness and humanity in the world. Chapter 5. Returning to duties. John returned to his seat, but now his heart was filled with joy. He knew he had violated protocol, but that day he became more than just a soldier. He became a source of hope for a little girl. When the changing of the guard was over, John returned to the barracks and told his comrades about the meeting with the girl. Some of them laughed and said he had broken the rules, but others understood what he had done. "Sometimes you have to do what feels right," said one of the guards. Chapter 6. The story is flying apart. A few days after this meeting, the story of John and the girl was all over the news. Newspapers published photos of their interactions, and social media was filled with comments about the guardsman's kindness. People from all over the world admired his act and shared their stories of kindness. A girl named Amelia has become a symbol of hope for many. Her mother created a social media page where they shared news about her struggle with the disease and how she was inspired by the kindness of others. It's been a few months. Amelia continued to struggle with the disease, and John went on duty at Buckingham Palace every day. He often thought about the girl and hoped that she would recover. One morning, he noticed a familiar figure among the crowd of tourists. It was Amelia. She came with her mom and looked much better. Her hair began to grow back, and her smile became even brighter. John felt a surge of joy and pride that he was able to bring at least a drop of happiness into her life. He came up to her again and said, "Amelia, how are you?" "I'm better," she replied with a beaming smile. "I've been thinking a lot about you and your cow." Chapter 8. Sharing Stories. They started talking about Amelia's life after their first meeting. The girl told John about her favorite books and how she dreams of becoming a doctor to help other children. "I want to be as strong as you are," she told him. "You're so brave." John felt a surge of pride that he had become an example of strength and courage for her. He told her about his service in the army, about how important it is to be resilient in difficult times. "Each of us can be a hero to someone else," he told her. "Sometimes it's enough just to be kind." Chapter 9. Pleasant Surprises. Shortly after this meeting, Amelia decided to do something special for John as a thank you for his support. Together with her mother, she prepared a small gift, a handmade postcard with a drawing of a cow and the inscription, "Thank you for being my hero." When John received this postcard through the palace guards, he was touched to the core. He understood that this gesture was full of love and appreciation. Chapter 10. Inspiration for Others. John and Amelia's story continued to inspire people all over the world. A lot of people started writing about their kind deeds and how they helped others in difficult times. Amelia became an activist at her school and began organizing fundraising events for children with cancer. She dreamed of helping those who faced the same difficulties as her. Chapter 11. Meeting in a Year. It's been a year since they first met at Buckingham Palace. Amelia made a full recovery and came to meet John again. She decided to hold a celebration in honor of all the children who were struggling with the disease. There were games, music, and lots of smiling faces at the celebration. John came to the event in his uniform and was amazed by the number of people who came to support the children. When he saw Amelia among the crowd, she was beaming with happiness. They hugged each other tightly and promised to continue supporting each other. Chapter 12. Legacy of Kindness. John and Emily's story has become a legend for many people in London and beyond. They showed everyone the power of kindness and support in difficult times. The guardsman continued to serve his country with pride and honor. And Amelia grew into a strong young woman who inspired others to do good deeds. Chapter 13. The Path to Healing. Every day, Amelia became more active in her efforts to help other children. She organized charity events at the school fairs, sports tournaments, and concerts, all proceeds from which went to help children with cancer. Amelia understood the importance of supporting such children not only financially, but also emotionally. She also began writing articles for the school newspaper about the importance of being kind to other people and how small actions can make a big difference. John always supported her endeavors and sometimes came to events in the uniform of a guardsman. His presence inspired children and parents at the same time. Chapter 14. Unforeseen Difficulties. However, life has not always been easy for Amelia. Her struggle with the disease left traces on her health. She often got tired after long days of organizing events and communicating with people. One evening, she returned home after a long day of volunteering and felt very tired. Amelia's mom noticed this concern on her daughter's face and decided to talk to her. "Amelia," she said softly, "do you know that you can take a break? You don't have to be strong all the time." Amelia sighed. "I know, Mom," she replied, "but I feel responsible to other children. I want to do my best." "You're already doing a lot," her mom reassured her. "It's important to take care of yourself too." Shortly after this conversation, Amelia decided to talk to her friends about how she was feeling. They called a meeting in a cafe after school and discussed everything that was happening. "I just can't stop," Amelia confessed to her friends. "I feel obligated to help everyone." One of her friends said, "We can help you. You're not alone in this." Others agreed to support her initiatives and offered to take over some of the work. This was exactly what Amelia needed. A team of like-minded people was ready to help her. Chapter 16. Coming Back to Life. With the support of her friends, Amelia was able to balance her life between volunteering and recreation. She began spending more time with her friends, walking in London's parks or watching movies together. John noticed the changes in her life during their meetings at the palace. "You look happier," he told her one day. "I've learned how to delegate," Amelia replied with a smile. "I have a team now." They both laughed about how important it is to have support nearby. Chapter 17. A New Project. Inspired by the support of her friends and John, Emilia decided to launch a new project called The Light of Hope. It was a support program for children with serious illnesses through art drawing, music, and theater. She organized a series of workshops for children in London hospitals together with local artists and musicians. The idea was to give children the opportunity to express their feelings through creativity. Chapter 18. The First Event. The first event was held in one of the city's hospitals. Emilia was excited and a little nervous before the start of the masterclass. When the children started coming to the art room, she saw their curious eyes and smiles that gave her strength. "Hello, my name is Emilia," she introduced herself to the children. "Today we will draw and create something amazing together." The children were actively involved in the drawing process under the guidance of a talented artist. Emilia helped them to reveal their ideas and feelings through art. Chapter 19. Moments of Magic. During the master class, one of the boys painted a picture of the sun with bright rays. It was a symbol of hope for him after long days of treatment in the hospital. When he finished his work, his eyes shone with joy. "This sun will always shine," he said with pride. Emilia felt a surge of happiness that she was able to create a space for these children, a place where they could be themselves without fear or embarrassment. Chapter 20. John's Support. John came to one of the events of the Light of Hope program to support Emilia and the children. He was touched by the emotions and joy that reigned around him. After the master class, he approached Emilia. "You're doing an incredible job. These kids need you." Emilia smiled. "Thank you. I just want to make them happy." "You've already done that," John replied. Chapter 21. Inspiration for Others. The Light of Hope project was rapidly gaining popularity among London locals. Many artists have started offering their services for free to participate in workshops for children. Emilia also began receiving letters from parents of children participating in the program about how art helped their children cope with difficult moments in life. One day, she received a letter from the mother of a boy named Oliver. "Dear Emilia, I want to thank you for your program. My son Oliver was very depressed after the treatment, but after your art classes, he became a more open and happy person. Thanks to you, he started dreaming again." These words inspired Emilia to continue her work even more. Chapter 22. Rewards for Kindness. A few months after the launch of the Light of Hope program, Emilia was invited to an awards ceremony for local heroes of London for their contribution to society. When her name was named among the winners of the award for charity and support for children with serious illnesses, she was shocked. She made a touching speech on stage. "I never thought that I could change someone's life so much. All this is possible thanks to the support of my friends and the wonderful people around me." She saw John among the audience, smiling proudly at her from the crowd. Chapter 23. New Horizons. After receiving the award, the Light of Hope project became even more famous throughout the country. Emilia started receiving offers of cooperation from other support organizations. She understood the importance of expanding the program beyond London and began planning trips to other cities to conduct workshops. John also offered his help in organizing events. His ministry experience helped him find common ground with people of different ages. The first trip took place in Manchester. Emilia was excited to meet the new kids and parents there. Many local artists and musicians joined them at the event. The atmosphere was filled with the joy of creativity. The children painted their dreams on large canvases to the sound of live music. It was magical. Chapter 25. Returning to the Roots. As the program grew, Emilia did not forget about her roots, about that moment at Buckingham Palace with John. She understood the importance of those little things in life, those simple acts of kindness. One day, she decided to organize a special event in honor of John, an evening of gratitude for all the royal guardsmen for their service to the people of Great Britain. Chapter 26. An Evening of Gratitude. Many people from different parts of the country gathered at the Evening of Gratitude. The atmosphere was full of respect for the country's servants. Emilia addressed the audience. "I want to thank you all for your service. You set an example of courage and dedication every day." After her speech, John came forward. "Emilia inspires us all with her example. She showed us all the power of kindness." The hall was filled with applause. Everyone felt the importance of a moment of unity in the name of goodness. Chapter 27. Difficult Decisions. However, the success of the program also brought new challenges. Emilia faced difficult decisions regarding project management. She understood the importance of the financial stability of the program. Therefore, she began to look for sponsors to further develop the initiative. Some people offered their services for money or demanded significant expenses for organizing events. This jeopardized the ideals of the Art Without Borders program for children. Chapter 28. Preserving Ideals. Emilia knew that she had to find a balance between finances and the ideals of the program. She began working on creating an art support fund for children with disabilities without the need to commercialize the project. It took a lot of time. She had to communicate a lot with lawyers and charity experts. Nevertheless, she remained optimistic. Her friends supported her every morning during morning meetings to plan new events. Chapter 29. Joining Forces. Together, they began to develop a strategy to attract sponsors without compromising the ideals of the project. They organized several charity events to raise funds for the Foundation for the Support of Art for Sick Children. They also began collaborating with local art schools. This helped draw attention to the Light of Hope program. Chapter 30. Program Successes. After some time, the program became popular among local residents. Many people began donating money to the Foundation for the Support of Art for Sick Children, thanks to the efforts of Emilia's team. With each new event, they raised more and more funds. The program continued to grow in all directions. Chapter 31. A New Stage of Life. With each success, Emilia became more confident in her abilities. She understood the importance of her contribution to society through art and support for sick children. Her work inspired many people around her. Many became program volunteers or participated in fundraising efforts to help children. Chapter 32. Completing the Path. A few years later, the Light of Hope program became famous not only in the UK. It attracted the attention of international organizations supporting the arts for sick children. Emilia was happy to see the results of her work. Every day new children came to art classes under the guidance of talented artists. Chapter 33. The Path Ahead. However, despite the success of the program, she knew that there was still a lot of work ahead. She dreamed of expanding the program to an international level, so that every child could have access to art as a means of healing. Her friendship with John also strengthened. They continued to support each other in all endeavors. Their relationship has grown stronger over time. Every time they met at Buckingham Palace or at the events of the program, they remembered that first moment of their acquaintance. You know, John once said during one of their meetings, "Sometimes the simplest moments can change someone's life forever." Emilia agreed. Yes, and I hope that my work can change the lives of many children. Conclusion. Legacy of Kindness. The story of John and Emily has become a symbol of hope for many people around the world. They have shown everyone the power of kindness. The guardsman continued to serve his country with pride, and Emilia grew into a strong young woman who inspires others to do good. And although they came from different worlds, one was a soldier guarding the royal family, and the other was a little girl dreaming of becoming a doctor. Their destinies intertwined forever, thanks to one moment of kindness. That's how one of the many love stories between people ended. The story